Hello, our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the explosive developments coming your way on Monday, October 20th, as tensions reach a boiling point at University Hospital. A desperate search intensifies across Salem, and two couples find themselves caught in an emotional whirlwind over an adoption that could change everything. The upcoming episode promises to deliver all the drama, confrontations, and heart-wrenching moments that Days of Our Lives fans have come to expect, with multiple storylines colliding in unexpected ways that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. Sarah's therapy sessions and her explosive confrontation with EJ. Sarah Horton-Kyriakis has been working diligently with the brilliant Dr. Marlena Evans in intensive therapy sessions designed to help her overcome some deeply ingrained patterns in her relationship with Xander. The focus of these therapeutic meetings has been learning to control her impulse to jump to the worst possible conclusions, developing genuine trust in her husband, and most importantly, stopping herself from constantly criticizing and berating the man she chose to marry. Marlena has been helping Sarah understand that she married Xander knowing exactly who he was, flaws and all, and that constantly attacking him for being true to his nature isn't fair to either of them. The therapy has been challenging, forcing Sarah to examine her own behavior and take responsibility for the toxic patterns she's created in their marriage. However, when it comes to EJ DiMera, Sarah feels absolutely no obligation to exercise the same restraint she's learning to use with Xander. EJ has recently become her new boss at University Hospital, and Sarah sees him as the perfect target for all the pent-up frustration and anger she's been learning to redirect away from her husband. She needs an outlet for all that intense energy, somewhere to channel the fierce emotions that have been building up inside her, and EJ has conveniently positioned himself as the ideal candidate. The reality is that everyone in Salem already blames EJ DiMera for just about everything that goes wrong, so Sarah feels completely comfortable and justified in adding her voice to that growing chorus of critics. The DiMera name comes with a certain reputation, and EJ has done plenty over the years to earn the distrust and animosity that follows him everywhere he goes. Sarah's primary grievance with her new hospital administrator centers on his aggressive cost-cutting measures at University Hospital. From Sarah's perspective, EJ is being unreasonably harsh and penny-pinching, implementing budget restrictions that she believes will compromise patient care and the hospital's ability to function effectively. She's absolutely outraged that he would dare to suggest making the hospital financially sustainable and fiscally responsible. In Sarah's view, the hospital should be able to continue spending money freely, without any concern for budgets or financial constraints, essentially operating in a reckless manner until they inevitably drive themselves straight into bankruptcy. And when that catastrophic financial collapse eventually happens, Sarah figures everyone will have even more ammunition to blame EJ for the disaster, making it truly the superior strategy in her mind. The irony of her position seems completely lost on her, as she fails to see how unsustainable spending would actually be EJ's fault to clean up. The confrontation between Sarah and EJ promises to be fierce and heated, with both parties bringing their own baggage and agenda to the explosive encounter. Some speculation suggests Sarah might stumble upon something suspicious at the hospital, possibly connected to secret laboratory activities or other questionable operations happening behind closed doors. There's even a possibility she could overhear something mentioned by Kat Green that raises her suspicions and sends her on an investigative mission. Brady and Steve launch an urgent search for missing Sophia. The situation with Sophia Choi has reached a critical point, with the young woman having packed her bags and disappeared without a trace, leaving her mother Amy and several other Salem residents desperately worried about her whereabouts and well-being. The last time anyone saw Sophia, she was heading out the door with her belongings, clearly determined to escape from whatever situation had become too overwhelming for her to handle. Amy Choi has been struggling to process the disturbing revelations about her daughter's behavior, particularly the shocking truths that Tate Black and Holly Jonas confronted her with regarding Sophia's actions and deception. Rather than accepting these painful realities about her daughter, Amy has chosen to lash out at others, directing her anger and blame toward anyone except Sophia herself. She slapped Johnny DiMera right outside the Brady pub entrance, making her fury and denial absolutely clear to everyone who witnessed the dramatic confrontation. Amy specifically blames Tate and Holly for Sophia's decision to run away, convinced that their truthful revelations pushed her daughter over the edge when they dropped uncomfortable truths that Amy simply wasn't prepared to hear about Sophia's character and choices. She's also pointed fingers at Brady Black. Even though Brady has every legitimate right to hold Sophia accountable for the tremendous pain and hardship she put his son Tate through with her lies and manipulations. Despite having valid reasons to be angry with Sophia for the chaos she created, Brady possesses a deep understanding of what it feels like to have a child go missing. His daughter Rachel Horton has disappeared on him multiple times over the years, giving Brady first-hand experience with the terror, helplessness, and desperation that comes with not knowing where your child is or if they're safe. That painful personal history makes Brady sympathetic to the current crisis, regardless of his complicated feelings about Sophia's behavior. Understanding the urgency of the situation, Brady makes the decision to volunteer his time and energy to help locate the missing young woman. He reaches out to Steve Johnson, knowing that Steve's investigative skills and resources make him the perfect partner for this kind of search operation. Steve has proven himself time and again as Salem's most capable private investigator, with connections and techniques that can track down even the most elusive targets. Steve quickly gets to work using his technological expertise to trace Sophia's phone, successfully determining that her last known location was at the Brady pub sometime around midnight. The discovery suggests that Sophia might have been hiding out in one of the rooms located upstairs at the pub, taking refuge in the family establishment where she'd been working. This lead gives Brady and Steve a concrete starting point for their search efforts, focusing their attention on the pub and its immediate surroundings. The two men team up to conduct a thorough search of the premises, checking every possible hiding spot where a frightened young woman might take shelter. They're determined to find Sophia before something terrible happens, though whether they'll actually succeed in locating her remains uncertain. The search promises to come with unexpected twists and turns, as Brady and Steve may uncover surprising information or encounter curveballs they weren't anticipating along the way. There's speculation that when they search the back rooms of the pub, they'll find Sophia and bring her into the main dining area, where multiple people will be waiting to confront her about everything that's happened. The confrontation promises to be emotionally charged and intense, forcing Sophia to face the consequences of her actions in front of numerous witnesses. The underlying truth is that Sophia has made an absolute mess of so many people's lives with her lies, manipulations, and poor choices, and the time has come for her to answer for all of that destructive behavior. She'll have to face the music in the coming episodes, dealing with the fallout from her actions and hopefully beginning to make amends for the pain she's caused. Interestingly, nobody seems particularly interested in using new set locations for the search, so the entire operation conveniently takes place right where Steve tracked Sophia's phone, making logistics much simpler for everyone involved. Sometimes practicality wins out over geographical realism in the world of Salem. The heartbreaking adoption battle over baby Tesoro. Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez find themselves caught in an emotionally devastating situation as they continue to discuss the possibility of adopting baby Tesoro, even though realistically there's absolutely no way they would be permitted to adopt the child in the real world given all the complications and obstacles standing in their way. The couple continues to talk about the adoption as if it were a genuine option that was cruelly and unfairly taken away from them, rather than acknowledging the legitimate legal and practical barriers that exist. The truth is that Leo and Javi don't have the same advantages and connections that Chanel Dupree DiMera and Johnny DiMera enjoy. Chanel and Johnny come from powerful, influential families with people in extremely high places who can pull strings and manipulate situations to get the outcome they desire. Johnny is a DiMera, one of Salem's most powerful dynasties, while Chanel's mother Paulina Price wields considerable influence as the mayor of Salem. Those kinds of connections make an enormous difference when navigating the complex world of adoptions and social services. Johnny and Chanel have the resources to hire the best lawyers, the political clout to pressure agencies, and the family support to overcome obstacles that would prove insurmountable for ordinary couples. Despite their advantages, even Chanel and Johnny aren't completely confident that everything will work out in their favor this time. Not everything seems to be falling perfectly into place for them as they'd hoped and expected, creating genuine anxiety and uncertainty about the adoption's outcome. The couple finds themselves being left out of the loop as the search for Sophia intensifies, unsure what information is being kept from them and how it might affect their chances of keeping Tesoro. Johnny was really counting on Sophia coming forward to confess the truth, hoping that her admission would clear up the devastating misunderstanding with social services that's threatening their ability to adopt. However, with Sophia having disappeared, that hoped-for confession seems increasingly unlikely to materialize anytime soon. Neither of these young, relatively inexperienced parents knows how to effectively deal with this kind of crushing disappointment and institutional cruelty. They've both been relatively privileged throughout their lives, accustomed to getting what they want through family connections and influence. So facing a situation where they might genuinely fail despite their advantages is unfamiliar and frightening territory. There's even speculation that maybe baby Tesoro is meant to stay with Javi and Leo instead, that perhaps fate has determined they're the better parents for this particular child. After all, Javi has previous experience as a father, having raised a daughter in the past. Although that situation ended in heartbreak and sadness, it doesn't diminish or erase Javi's capability and capacity to be an excellent parent. Leo and Javi represent a stable, committed couple despite being unmarried gay partners, which unfortunately still creates additional hurdles with many adoption agencies that maintain traditional biases. Beyond that societal discrimination, Leo's troubled past presents numerous red flags that could prevent them from being approved as adoptive parents. One of Leo's most serious past offenses involved delivering baby Jude and knowingly allowing Sloane Peterson to pass the child off as hers instead of revealing that Nicole Walker was the biological mother. That incident represents just one of many questionable choices from Leo's checkered history that could resurface during the adoption investigation process. Similarly, Johnny and Chanel carry their own extensive baggage that could derail their adoption hopes if agencies dig deep enough into their backgrounds. Johnny's most recent offense was threatening his own father's life at gunpoint, a violent incident that would raise serious concerns about his stability and judgment. Then there's the time when Chanel took the fall for Johnny after he committed a serious assault, demonstrating a pattern of covering up criminal behavior. These two find themselves at the center of criminal activities and legal troubles more often than not, creating a documented pattern that any thorough background investigation would uncover. If the adoption agency does their research properly and looks into the couple's history, they'll discover numerous unsettling incidents and questionable decisions that should give them pause about placing a vulnerable child in their care. The adoption battle over Tesoro has become intensely emotional for both couples, with each pair genuinely believing they would provide the best home for the baby. What none of them know is that Tesoro is actually the biological child of Tate Black and Sophia Choi, a truth that could completely change everything about the adoption situation if it were to come to light. The real question becomes whether Tate will discover the truth about his son before the adoption is finalized, potentially changing the entire trajectory of multiple families. The revelation would devastate everyone involved, ripping the baby away from whichever couple had grown attached to him and forcing Tate to confront fatherhood at an extremely young age. This storyline continues to develop with increasing emotional intensity, promising heartbreak for at least one couple as the battle for Tesoro reaches its inevitable conclusion in the coming weeks. Monday's episode promises to deliver all of these explosive developments and more, keeping viewers riveted as the drama unfolds across multiple storylines that will have lasting consequences for everyone involved.